Welcome into Buccaneers Total Access, brought to you by Hooters. We are here in the Hooters Owl's Nest. Casey Phillips, Allie Marpet, joined by our special guest this week, Antoine Winfield Jr. Antoine, thank you so much for being with us.
Of course, no problem.
I mean, man, I knew you were going to be a good person to talk to, particularly after the Creamsicle game. I mean, first of all, you were part of the release video. You got to be part of the hype with all of this. You already had the perfect hair for it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I have to imagine that our department was like, well, now we have to include him in the 70s release video vibes. How cool was that for you to get a chance to rock these creamsicles, the 70s vibe, be a part of the release video is something that is so important and has meant so much to this franchise for so long?
Yeah, it was awesome. Even doing like the release video, being able to like throw it back and do all that, I'm like, I feel like I was in a movie for real. Like they had us doing all types of stuff.
Awesome.
Had the actors and everything, and so doing that was fun. And you know, the lead up to actually like wearing the creamsicle jerseys and the uniforms, it was unreal. And you know, those are my favorite uni combos. They need to bring those back full time because I enjoyed them.
That's great.
Dude, was the hair? I have to know. Like, was the hair part of like the decision making? Did you consider the creamsicle jersey when you were growing out the hair at any point?
I did not, but
Okay.
it just kind of worked out perfectly. And I'm like, you know what? I got the fro. I'm like, this is perfect. They asked me to do the video. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm about to look good.
Dude, that video is probably one of the coolest things. The release video is probably one of the coolest things that has come out of our content. I thought that was a sick video. I wanted to be a part of it.
It was like a real movie setup,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
actors and you know like extras and everything. I'm like, wow, must be what it's like to like actually shoot a movie.
Yeah.
You feel ready to be an actor now? Was that your
I still
resume
need some
tape?
work,
Yeah.
but it was fun seeing everything set up.
I like that. We could do some film study like we do for football on
Yeah.
your acting ability.
There we
and See
go.
how it works.
There we go.
Well, I know even though the uniforms look great, everything looked great out there, not the outcome you guys were hoping for. And I feel like we just kind of have to start by talking about third downs, which was a bit unfortunate. And I'm sure also kept you guys out there a lot longer than you wanted to be and probably
For
tired
sure.
you out a little bit by the end of the game.
Yeah, for sure.
Tell me a little bit about what went down, just especially on third down and especially even third and longs, where this is not something you guys have really struggled with in the past.
Yeah. I feel like it's a few adjustments that we just have to make and have to be better at. We gave up some big plays on third and longs, and, you know, that's something that we can't do. And as you see, you know, that kind of determines the outcome of the game. So we got to do better at cleaning up our third and longs and just getting off the field so, you know, we can get that offense back out there.
What was it specifically that felt like it was happening was it something they were doing? Was it something we were doing? And why was it those situations that seemed to really not be going as well?
Yeah, I think that was on us. We just got to do a better job of executing and getting off the field, like I said before. So just making sure that when we get in those situations, that we're, you know, prepared to make plays to get off the field.
Yeah, I feel like Todd does such a great job of scheming up these third down packages. Like I just from the other side of it, like it is wild trying to anticipate the kind of stuff that's going to come at you on third and long, because you kind of generally have like a lot of things that you can throw out an offense, and usually it's really overwhelming and tough to study for.
Yeah. You know, and Bowles, you know, he dials it up. So you don't know where it's coming from, but you know it's coming.
I was saying, when you were saying you never know he's going to throw at you, usually he's throwing an Antoine Winfield Jr. at you. Like, I feel like you're the, like, Swiss Army knife of this thing where it's like, what's he doing? I feel like you are that guy. Is that kind of how you feel in it, that you're almost like, I feel like you're like this toy that he has that he's like, oh, wait for this. Like, wait till you see what I'm going to do with Antoine this time.
Yeah. You know, I'm wherever he needs me to be at, that's where I'm going to be at, you know, and he, you know, schemes it up so well. So he, you know, can't really get a feel of where we're coming from. So, you know, I love it. I love the system.
Yeah, and then for like again from an offensive perspective, it's always like, you know, you think that like guys have to be in a certain place. Like there's like certain like spacing and things that need to like have to be like and the guys have to rush the rush lanes, right? But at the same time, sometimes there's these quirks and things like, I don't think that you can do that, but Todd does.
Yeah.
And
He's breaking the rules.
He's breaking the rules. I'm like, that guy has to be over there, but there's nobody there, you know, which is what makes it so much more challenging to figure out as an offense.
Which is something I heard about you. I was asking some coaches, some people around the building to give me some insight on Antoine for this week for the show. And I was asking, what is it that you do really well? And I am not going to make you give away how you do this because that would ruin it. But I heard you are particularly good at essentially what Allie's talking about, of the disguising what you're going to do. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree, and that's something that we work every week, and you know that starts in practice, and then obviously your film study and seeing what the offense does and things like that. But that's just through practice and, you know, being able to disguise and, you know, show different looks. You know, you have to be able to do that, especially at safety, going against all these talented quarterbacks in the league today. So, yeah, that's something that I try to focus on and do.
How do you kind of come up with that? Is it like you watch what they do, and you think, okay, if I act like I'm doing this, it causes them to make this choice, so I'm going to act like that, but not do that? Like, how do you come up with the formula of how you're going to try to trick a person? And is it different per, like you said, quarterback, offensive system, all of that?
Yeah, it's different. Each week per system. Depending on what the offense does. If I'm showing down, I know they're probably going to check the run the other way, so I'm gonna show down at first and get them to run into the blitz because it's coming the other way. So it's really just studying and just knowing how that other offense works.
I love that. You have to be back there like, yes, this is so fun.
Well, and then for an offense, like when I was saying the things that are difficult, it's like there are certain rules that, offenses have. Like, all right, so if the safety's at, let's just say 15 yards and he's middle of field, like they can't do this. They're not going to, roll to here. This guy's not going to come. Like there are certain parameters that we have, and like that's what you guys do. That's the tendency breaker. It's like, wait, they can't do that. Like you're not supposed to.
That's why we do it.
Yeah,
that's why we do
like,
it.
he's playing it away, but like, that doesn't even make sense. Like, it's like a different set of rules against Todd Bowles, essentially.
It also, I feel like I'm witnessing a personality test of a safety versus an offensive lineman right now, where the safety's over there like, look at what all I can do, and you're like, but that's against the rules.
If you're that far back, you can't cover that much space, dude. Like, you're not supposed to do that.
I love this. Someone else that I feel like breaks all the rules, especially at this point in their career, Levante David. This guy just stacking the stat sheet. And I feel like you and him both, I feel like you guys have been in a competition lately for who can have the most stats in the most categories and doing the most things. So he had 12 tackles, a sack, pass defense, tackle for loss, probably a bunch of other things I'm forgetting. What is it like to play with him, to watch him and see how he's been doing it so consistently for so long at this level?
That's the thing. He's so consistent, man. And he moves so well. Like you would think Taze in like his rookie contract or something like that.
He's playing for a new contract.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And it's like, how is he still moving like this? Like, man, I want to be like Taze when I get to his age.
Yeah.
But Taze a monster, man. He's a beast, and he's smart. He's been doing it for a long time, so he gets the game and he loves playing it. So I aspire to be like him.
I think what's so cool is that when there's like the balance of like the anticipation that comes from like veteran experience, then also you can still move, like cover as much ground as he can and still play as powerfully as he can. Like that's why he shows up.
That's usually the problem is either people have the mental side or they have the physical, and to actually have both still is incredible.
Somehow he still has both.
Yeah, I can't believe it. And to be able to put him one-on-one against a guy like Laporta, what does that do for the rest of you guys in your defense? Maybe even what that does for Todd, the way you guys can scheme it up when, just to be able to take away one of their primary red zone targets, one of their primary targets in general, with a linebacker like that in coverage.
It allows us to do more. And, like that disguising aspect allows us to disguise different ways. And, you got Tay out there, so you're like, okay, he's locking him up.
Good.
Let me go lean this way or something like that. So it just allows us to do more.
That's cool. We're talking to Antoine Winfield Jr. Also, Kalijah Cansey gets his first career sack.
Fantastic. Love to see it.
So, especially, Ed, what have you seen in like the limited time you guys have had with him? I know he's been hurt so much, but then, man, a little bit week one, he gets in there, makes some impact plays. Now he's been hurt again, comes in immediately, makes impact plays. What has it been like to watch him as a rookie be able to, with so little experience so far in the NFL, make these impacts? And what do you think it is of why he's been able to do that as you've watched him around the facility?
Yeah, so this was his first real game that he played in. And I think the thing that stood out was how quick he was. You get a D lineman moving like that. I'm like, wow, I didn't, really – never really paid attention to him like in college, but seeing him at this level with that speed, and then you got guys around him, I'm like, he's going to be dangerous. He's going to be dangerous.
I think what was cool to see, so the actual sack was like on an overload look, right? So you have three guys on the one side of the center, and as an offensive lineman, like I was saying, things usually have to balance out, and they do. So if they're running a game, someone's got to come back to you, right? So the left guard knows that someone's going to come back to him. And Kalijah still, like, full extension, rolls his hips, is able to play with so much power, and just walks this guard back. It was awesome. Just like it's like I'm telling you, as an offense, it's going to hit you, and you still get got. It was
crazy.
like
What
awesome.
do you do?
Yeah, it was like, what do you do? I mean, he's played his quickness, but he's also plays so much power and actually like leverage right there that even though the guard kind of should know what's going on, still gets hit. It's great.
Well, and for you to use the word power is interesting too, because of course everyone talked about how they felt like he was kind of undersized. He was smaller for a D lineman, and
I love that.
Well, tell me why.
I love the undersized comments. Oh, he's too small. He can't do this.
This
'Cause,
sounds like this comes from a personal place.
Oh yeah, personal for sure. Personal for sure. I've always been the little guy on the field, but at the end of the day, when you're out there on the field, that doesn't matter. It's about what you do. Can you play or not? And so I love hearing like, oh, what can he do? He's not the biggest guy. He's not the fastest. So I don't know. I love stories like that.
Yeah, but it's like if you play with leverage and you actually like run your feet and do those things, which is like exactly what he did.
Yeah.
Like that totally cancels out. People
makes up for it.
Yeah, people over-index on that. Sometimes size is important, obviously.
Yeah.
But like you can still get it done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like we had Devin Tompkins on the last show here.
Same
Same
way.
thing,
Same
I'm like,
thing.
we love this. We love these
Yeah.
guys. It's like playing so much bigger, supposedly, than you actually are. Now, I will say putting Cansey next to Vita, helpful to make up for the size thing.
Yeah.
You do have at least that dynamic there. What is it like to watch the two of them together and what that has meant for you guys up front? And even, again, as someone who does get a chance to come in and blitz some, and how does that end up impacting you knowing what they're causing up front?
Well, Vita. Vita's he's a huge human being.
He's got that going for him.
I've never seen like
He's
one
never
guy
had
just
this feel of you I'm undersized. They're doubting me.
Yeah, he doesn't really know what that's like.
Yeah.
But for him to just be in the middle of the field and just kind of stick his hands out and just not be able to move, like that right there is like, it's insane. Like I've never seen anything like that. So having those guys in there and they can really just play off each other, so it's a dangerous mix, I'm not gonna lie, and I love having that in front of me because it makes my job a little bit easier. So
yeah,
and then from a pass rush standpoint, when you have two like interior guys that can get after it, it helps each other. Like it will once they get the flow of it. Like in the interior, usually one of the guys is going to get doubled.
Yep.
But if you can start to like feel who's going to be the guy to be doubled based on protections or calls and stuff like that, then the other guy knows he's got a one-on-one.
Yeah.
It kind of just helps open things up. And I think once they get the feel of that and they can communicate, like, all right, I've got a two-way go on this O-lineman right here, I think it'll help open things up from their pass rush.
they can start playing off each other.
Exactly.
All right, we are going to take a quick break. We are going to have more on Buccaneers Total Access, brought to you by Hooters, the original wing joint since 1983. This is Buccaneers Radio. Welcome back into Buccaneers Total Access, brought to you by Hooters. We are here in the Hooters Owl's Nest. Casey Phillips, Allie Marpet, joined by Antoine Winfield Jr. Also, we talked about how perfect the hair was for the throwback game. You also showed up in a sleeveless sweater vest, which I really enjoyed the fashion choice there. And then the wire rim glasses. And I feel like in general, you're a guy that just like, you've got your own style. And I really respect that. Tell me, how would you describe the fashion sense and how much thought you put into this and how much like you're a fashion guy?
Okay, well, first and foremost, I got to give a shout out to my stylist, which is my fiance.
Yes.
She gets,
Good call.
she get me right.
Yeah.
She picks out all the fits. We get them planned out and
And now
everything.
you got the brownie points for mentioning her.
Nice.
Oh yeah,
I see you know
so
what's going on.
Got to shout her out because
That's good.
she does a great job of making sure I look nice.
I love
so
it.
I got to give it all to her.
That's great. That's awesome. And are you someone that does care about fashion, or is that something you're
Yeah.
excited about?
No, I love fashion. Look nice, play nice, feel nice. You know what I'm saying? So I always gotta put something on.
That's good. Allie had the same sentiment, right?
Could not care.
The fact that Antoine just burst out laughing shows how much that was
I'm
not
just
a
saying,
thing.
like, dude did not care. But I will say, I respect when guys do it and can do it well. Like, I can appreciate it. It's just, I feel like actually one of my aversions to it is like it takes time and energy. Like
It does.
I don't want to spend time. Like, if
It
you want
does.
to do it
does.
well, you know
Most
what I'm saying?
definitely.
So
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I could have just asked my fiance to do it
Yeah,
as well.
get you right.
But no, but still, at the time and energy, it wasn't worth it. Yeah.
I feel that.
You're like the Steve Jobs, but instead of the black turtleneck, you just chose Hawaiian shirt. And you were just like, that's it. Like,
I don't have
think about it.
I
Nice and
hate-
simple.
dude. I hate decision fatigue. There's too
Yeah,
much stuff.
nice and simple.
Like whatever was on top in the drawers, like
Yeah.
that's what you wear on the game day.
Straight like
It was
that.
clean. It was ready to go.
This is amazing. And also, Antoine, you were named captain for the first time this year. So first of all, congratulations.
Thank
Very
you.
well-deserved honor for sure.
Thank you.
What did that mean to you in terms of, I mean, you've had a lot of accolades in your career of different types, college, pro. What did that one specifically mean to you?
I think being a captain or being named captain was one of those ones where it's like, oh, okay, that's really cool. And it just shows like just that the guys and the coaches and the players that I play with, they really see that I'm a hard worker because I come in here every day. I put my work in, and I just want to be the best I can be, and I also try to elevate everybody else around me. So it just shows that my work is paying off, and yeah, it's awesome feeling.
Dude, that is such a huge honor. Like and I think what's really cool is Todd, I guess, waited, right? I mean, it was 3 weeks
Yeah.
in, so you kind of have a sense of like how guys like leaders really respond in an environment. So I feel like that's another cool way of doing it. I don't think we ever did it like that when
I
I
don't
was
think
there.
so.
Yeah, but again, you get to see how people respond when it actually matters, and it's not like an OTAs, and it's easy to like be the hype man when like nothing.
Everybody's fresh.
Everyone's fresh. Everyone's excited. Everybody wants to be there. But like in training camp when things are hard, or like during losses when things are hard, how do guys respond? So I think it even adds like a little bit more. It's a little more meaningful, I think, when it's this late. That's like, all right, this is how this guy shows up every day, even when things are hard. You know. So,
I thought, especially for Baker getting voted, right? Because it's like you probably feel obligated in some ways to make your quarterback a captain. Like that's just kind of a lot of times how it goes. But if there hadn't been any games played yet, it would have maybe felt more like an honorary thing instead of really based on what you guys had seen. And I know you talked about how you felt like you were getting fired up from some of the ways that he was playing, the ways that he was leading. What were some of those things that you felt like led to knowing that captain vote was not just because this is our quarterback thing, but because of Baker?
Just like you said before, like just seeing how they like played and just how they led, and like we didn't have any captains for the first few games, and that was just like to see, I guess, kind of how everybody actually like played without having that patch on your chest. So that's why I liked how he did it. Like 4 games in, vote on it, and those guys are the ones that are gonna lead regardless. You know what I'm saying? So I like how he did it.
That's pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm curious. I mean, I don't think that it would change much, but I would think that like those guys will continue to do the things that they did, right?
Yeah.
And I think that the biggest thing that you don't want are the guys that, maybe on the fringe, or guys that are leaders that aren't necessarily captains, feeling kind of like left out, or like they're don't have the same role. But I'm sure that that's not the case. I'm sure that those guys will be able to figure that stuff out. But that's always a piece of it. Then you're naming captains, something to always consider. So I'm sure there's a lot of guys that, would have wanted that honor, but, you want to make sure that they're still responding in the right way afterwards.
Yeah, 100%. And just because we got to see on our chest doesn't mean that there aren't other leaders out there. Because I know there's a lot of guys on the team that lead and do a great job of it, and I don't think that has changed anything.
And I think one of the best things, honestly, like for me, like my framework was always like, all right, what can I do every day to show up? Like what me being the best player, I think automatically brings guys in. And so even guys that aren't like the captains, I think it's important for them to always know. It's like, all right, if I'm showing up every day doing everything I can do to become the best player I can be, like that'll bring guys in. Like that's leadership in itself. So,
100%.
That's great. We're talking to Antoine Winfield Jr. And you talked about taking pride in being a hard worker, and I can 100% vouch for this because every time I need to ask you to do something, you are the last one off the field that I end up waiting for. So I can verify you are that last guy coming off the practice field, putting in so much extra work. Where do you feel like, I mean, I know the easy answer may just be your dad, right? Like that you knew kind of what it took to play in the NFL. Do you feel like that was where this work ethic came from? Everyone talked about you came in immediately so mature, prepared. You didn't seem like a rookie. How much is it your dad? How much is it you and other sources? And where did this whole Antoine Winfield ready right out of the gate as a vet player come from?
Yeah, I want to say like my life is pretty much based around football. I grew up, my dad played in the league for 14 years. So I grew up watching him play, grew up around all his teammates and all the players that he played with. And so, coming into like the league, I felt like I was prepared because, I would ask him questions and things I should do and things like that. And so I kind of like grew up that way, and I knew like, at every level that I played at, I always worked hard and I always did extra. And, that's something that I always have taken with me throughout my career. And so, growing up in it, I just learned at a young age, and it kind of carried over to where I am right now.
But here's the difference. Like, I feel like most people know, like, what it takes. Like, most people know that you have to do X, Y, and Z. But that doesn't mean they always do it.
Yeah.
That's true.
So, like,
That's
there's a component for you that obviously saw it modeled and all those other things. But I'm just giving you props because, like, even though you know those things, like, not everyone still, like, it's
There's
hard.
a lot
it's
of
hard.
former players' kids that don't make it.
That's what I'm
So,
saying.
yeah.
That's like
That is
that in
true.
itself is not
That is
enough.
true.
So that's a testament, I think, to you and to your experience to actually internalize that and make that happen.
Yeah.
Do you remember like a welcome to the NFL moment? You were so mature and prepared that it was, I think, easy for a lot of us to even forget when you were a rookie. I mean, you're winning a Super Bowl as a rookie. You're going on the biggest stage and all of that.
Yeah.
But did you still have a moment where it was like, oh, snap, I'm in the NFL now?
Yeah.
does,
I
and
think
that's
everybody has a
always
moment, but mine
the
wasn't.
trauma that just like crossed the
Are you okay?
face.
It wasn't anything traumatic.
Oh,
It
okay.
was just
It was like, oh.
coming in, and then the team that we had. So it's like coming in, all right, Tom Brady's here, Gronk's here, AB's here, playing Mike, Chris, all these guys. I'm like,
Jeez.
wow.
Yeah.
And then we're in training camp. I'm like, we got to go against these guys. So we're practicing against these guys every day. And I'm like, wow, I'm really in the league, like playing against guys I grew up watching. And so I would say that's more so my welcome to the NFL moment versus like, playing against somebody. It's just like, wow, I'm really like
It was like your
playing
first
against.
practice was like an all-star game.
Yeah. It's like a Pro Bowl game or
Yeah.
something. I'm like, yeah. So that was kind of my welcome to the NFL.
No,
That's
it's nice
pretty
to normalize this superstardom when you get again, everybody has that, especially if you're watching a team, whoever you're rooting for as a kid. When you play against that team or something like that, it's always kind of cool. But again, you learn real fast. Like, now we're competing. Like,
Yeah. Now we're going against each other. Like we're trying to mess each other up.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah.
That's pretty cool. How about, so speaking of who you watched growing up, who were some of the players outside of your dad that you enjoyed watching growing up that you feel like you learned from, wanted to emulate, guys that you just remember being like, oh, this is my guy growing up?
Yeah, I remember two specifically, Ed Reed and Troy Polamalu. I don't know why.
Not bad.
Because I always loved like the safety position, and so like I would always tune in like when they were playing like them specifically, and so those are the two guys that I try to emulate my game by, and so yeah, those two guys.
I feel like one of the biggest respect you can give to someone is like I know if another player came up to me and said, hey, I love watching you on tape or something like that, that was always a huge honor. Are there any guys that you like that are currently playing that are like, oh, like I love the way that he plays? Any safeties?
Right now, I would say Jesse Bates.
Okay.
I love the way he plays.
Nice.
He's a ball hawk. He gets the ball, creates takeaways, and he's all around, flying around. So that's one of the other safeties in the league right now where I'm like, yeah, I like him.
Do you remember the first time someone said that to you in the NFL of that they liked watching you? Do you remember like when that kind of started happening?
Well, no, not really. I don't think. But I got a lot when I first got to the league. Oh, I coached your dad.
Oh, yeah.
I seen you growing up, blah, 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 like things like that. But I don't remember my first time with someone. I was like, yeah, I like your game.
It doesn't. So I will say it doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
And usually it's by like, again, guys, there's a lot of ego in the NFL. So guys aren't like
They don't want to admit
they don't want to
don't wanna admit it,
They
yeah.
don't want to admit it. But I tell you, I can guarantee you, there's 31
Ton of
other safeties in the league watch you on tape. You're like, damn,
Yeah.
that dude's special.
That's funny. Well, one of the people that could have said the whole, oh, I coached your dad, whatever, our own cornerback coach, Kevin Ross,
Yep.
was with the Vikings whenever your dad was there. How wild was that for you to realize that there was someone actively helping coach you that also coached your dad?
Yeah, it's weird, and it seemed like my rookie year, like every week, like somebody would come up to me like, oh, I coached or played against your dad. Like it's crazy to see you here. Like good luck and things like that. But then Coach Ross, who actually coached my dad and pretty much coaches me as well. It's a weird feeling to it.
So have you asked him if you're better or if your dad was better?
No. I respect my dad's game. My dad played for 14 years, so I got a lot of time to,
It's a good
catch
sign
up
right
to.
there. I feel like that would have been my first question.
Yeah. No,
I
Pops
would
is
like,
a
tell
legend.
me what
Pops
I'm
is good.
better at so that at the Thanksgiving dinner I have this to talk about.
No, I gotta give respect to him.
That's pretty great. How did you feel like it was inevitable that you would play football? You said your life had always revolved around it, but I can see there being some kids that just would
Want
maybe
nothing
reject
to
it.
do
Yeah,
with
like
it.
get
Yeah.
out of here with this. Like, did you know you always wanted to play? That was was the NFL always the plan?
Always the plan.
Wow.
Yeah, and it wasn't. It was a bumpy road. You get so kind of like my college career. So I come in my freshman year to Minnesota, have a good freshman year. My sophomore year, I ended up tearing my hamstring, and I missed that whole season because like the 4-game rule came out where you could redshirt after 4 years. So missed that year. So I'm like, oh, okay. So what am I gonna do? All right, let me just keep my head down, keep working. So I come back the next year, and in the 4th game, I tore my Liz Frank ligament in my foot, and I had to miss that year. So that was 2 years back to back. Where I'm like,
That's
how
a
is
gnarly
this?
one, too.
Yeah. I'm like, how is this supposed to work out? So kept my head down, put my work in, and got healthy. And then the following year, I balled out, was All-American, had like 7 picks. I had a crazy year and ended up getting drafted. And so I was just kind of like that's still like the mindset that I kind of live by, just put your head down, keep working, good things are going to happen. But, at some points, it's like you do question, like, am I really cut out for the league? And then, you just got to kind of block all that out and just keep working hard. And, everything the work you put in is what you get out. So keep your head down and keep keep going.
Was Minnesota, is that the school, like, that's the one you had your sights set on? Like, I knew I want to play. If you knew you want to play on the NFL, you were like, yeah, Minnesota's going to be the one to get me there?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Such a polite way of being like, why?
I appreciate it, but no. So my parents are Ohio State. They went to Ohio State. So I grew up an Ohio State fan. That's where I wanted to go, but wasn't recruited there.
Gotcha.
Too short.
See,
Wasn't fast enough.
there, now we
And that
found
story
it.
There
Let me brush that chip off
fire.
your shoulder real
Yeah.
quick.
Nah, so Minnesota it was. And
Obviously,
play
their
against
loss,
them.
man.
yeah, best decision I ever made.
Yeah,
Nice.
it worked out just how it was supposed to work out,
Exactly.
which is awesome. So if football hadn't worked out, what do you think you would have done? Or what do you maybe want to do post-football, either if they're the same or different?
That's a great question. I'm still trying to figure that out.
Luckily,
but
you don't seem to need to figure it
Yeah,
out
you'll be
anytime
okay.
soon. So
Yeah,
you
But
got
maybe
plenty of time.
acting?
There we go.
I could try it. Why
In
not?
explicitly 70s
70s.
themed
70s
things.
theme.
Yeah.
Old
So
school
yeah,
movie.
so you still aren't sure. Do you have any ideas or things that you're
I'm
interested
still
in?
not sure. Still thinking about it. But right now, my main focus is
Yep.
playing football.
Well,
love that.
typecasted as a 70s background character, you got that.
Yep,
Easy
that's
money.
great. I know. I feel like you missed like maybe Remember the Titans would have like we've
Perfect.
already
Good
missed
football flick.
we missed that football movie.
remake.
That's pretty great. How about the idea of we talked about how you knew how to come in and be ready as a pro. I feel like how to practice is also an interesting thing because this was something else I had a coach tell me about you is we hear a lot of criticism now about the way practices are. Oh, guys don't ever get to practice tackling. This is part of the issues by trying to make it safer. Now, guys don't get a lot of chance to work on that, especially on the defensive side. But I had a coach tell me that even though you're not tackling, you are so good at practicing tackling that every single rep you are getting down in your form, like you are going into it exactly like you would have tackled them. It's not this kind of two-hand touch, I would have gotten you thing. How intentional is that for you? Where did you come up with this idea of the way you wanted to practice and not just kind of, I mean, I'm sure it's easy to take some plays off here and there. It's a long season, but they said you never do that.
Yeah, it's very intentional. You have to like the things you do in practice, you do in games. You can't just say you do it in practice and it's going to happen in the games. Like you actually have to practice that way. And so, tackling is all about angles. And so, making sure you take the right angle, making sure coming up, you're tagging off at the hip because that creates like your hips rolling so you can actually run through people. And so, I practice that every day and it pays off.
That's amazing. I've also seen that you have decided to practice catching passes in practice every chance you get.
Oh, yeah.
You got our assistant coach, Keith Tandy, throwing balls to you
Yeah,
every time you
every time
come
I
off
come
the
off.
field. Tell me how this came about and what made you decide you wanted to do that.
I just think it just allows me to get that mindset like I need to, we got to get interceptions as a safety. You got to get your hands on balls. So I'm just like every time I come off the field, like throw me one so I can, get used to, catching the ball coming off the field or, so it just gets me prepared.
I love
I
that.
love that. I love that because it's not like seen as like a bonus thing. It's like, oh, if I get that, that'll be great. It's like, no, it's like I want to actually get better at this skill
Yeah.
because it's actually going to be like one of the most meaningful statistics, right? In winning and losing, turnovers.
Oh,
it's like one of the most
100%.
important things.
Yeah.
And few DBs, I feel like, are like, man, I could have
Yeah.
gotten that
Yeah.
one. Like, don't actually aren't intentional about like getting better at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The bonus versus the expected.
Exactly. Like, no, this is like something that we need because it actually is, again, the biggest statistical factor in winning and losing.
Yeah. What helps you win.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We are going to take another break here on Buccaneers Total Access, brought to you by Hooters, the original wing joint since 1983. This is Buccaneers Radio. Welcome back into Buccaneers Total Access from the Hooters Owl's Nest. We are here with Antoine Winfield Jr., and we were just talking about you emphasizing the interceptions, the turnovers, and I know that's something that you guys have been emphasizing a lot. You didn't feel like last year as a defense you guys got as many as you wanted, were capable of. You guys started out just like hair on fire this year, getting tons of them. And I know this last game was the first one you guys haven't been able to produce any. What are the things that you guys feel like you've done better this year in that area, and maybe what didn't work as well in that area this last game?
Yeah, I would say just emphasizing it. Our goal is to get 30. That'll put us in the top 5 range if we can get 30 takeaways. And so just emphasizing, making sure everybody's on the same page with it. Running back has the ball, first one in, wrap them up, second one in, punching the ball out. Balls in the air, go high point and go catch it. And so that's, something that we emphasize every week. And ultimately at the end of the day, wins, I feel like, turnovers is a huge thing. And, we didn't get any last game. And you kind of see how that turned out. So, we got to make sure that we go into these games and create takeaways so we can give the offense the ball more and win games.
Dude, I feel like everyone coaches or preaches turnovers and stuff like that, but like how do you actually make those happen? I feel like you're always punching or finding a way to get the ball out.
Yeah.
Like why? How are you? I guess for everybody else, like, how are you able to do that? Like, why?
Because it's not like nobody else is trying.
Well, it's it's like so other guys are trying to do it. What makes it so I think difficult for other guys to do? Like, I just don't. I've never been on that other side, so I haven't tried to get the ball out.
Yeah.
But I feel like, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. I would say practicing it and also visualizing it. I think I'm very big on like seeing it before and then it's gonna happen. And so in practice, running back has the ball. If I see him, you got to actually pay attention and be locked in on where the ball is.
Right.
And it's just an awareness thing. Okay, ball's in his right arm. Okay, I'm gonna punch with my left when he comes across. Or if he's going down, when they're running the ball and they're about to like fall, hit the ground, that ball is gonna come out a little bit. It's all about timing it up. You got to time it up too. As soon as you see that ball, boom, punch it. Ball's out.
Right before they hit the ground, that's like a sweet spot of when you get the ball out.
Yeah,
like that.
Because everybody would naturally go to brace themselves, so it makes sense that your arm would come out a little bit. Yeah, you've been killing it on that front. Did I hear that you have a specific number of turnover goal for yourself individually in addition to the whole like 30 as a defense? Do you have one for yourself?
Yeah. My goal is to get 10.
That is
10
wild.
takeaways, however they come.
That's a lot. That's a whole lot.
That's the definition of game changer.
Yeah.
Two.
Yeah.
Eight more to go.
8 more to go. I like it. Also, I love the idea of the fact that you come out to practice barefoot. This is very
Wait,
interesting.
what?
Yeah. So please tell us where this came from. Tell us the barefoot idea and how many of us should be showing up to work tomorrow barefoot.
Yeah. So it's something I kind of started during the off season. Just like when I was doing my workouts, I would warm up barefoot. And it's really just to make sure my feet, my ankles are just, strong, because last year I feel like I had problems with my ankles because I sprained my ankle, and that kind of I feel like hindered me a little bit. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to make sure my feet and ankles are strong so that I can be healthy throughout this season and be able to play at my full capacity. And so every day I come out, warm up barefoot, make sure my feet and ankles are feeling good, and go out and practice. And so far it's been good for me.
Wait, I feel like I love that. There's so much truth to that. So like early on in my career, I pretty much casted up my ankles.
Really?
Well, because they're messed up. So
Okay.
I felt like I needed to.
Yep.
And slowly throughout the years, I still there was less layers of tape, or there's 3 different types of tape, and eventually I'd take one away, eventually I'd take another, then I'd take the brace off. And towards the end of my career, I didn't tape my ankles.
Yeah.
And it made a world of difference.
Yeah.
I feel like just for the ankle flexibility, the strength, all that makes a huge difference. So I don't know why more guys aren't doing it.
I don't know why.
You're starting the barefoot
Started
army
the
over here.
barefoot army. Dude, I love it.
That's going to be great. So not only do we know, obviously, you're an incredible safety, but you played nickel a bunch last year, and I'd love to hear how that transition was for you, and even just what that was like to find out that they were wanting that for you. And is that a struggle in terms of, man, I'm real good at this thing, and now I'm going to be sliding over into this other position, and I'm sure just for the team versus kind of selfish ideas of what might be best. Take us through that whole idea of when you were finding that out and what that transition was like.
Yeah, they just told me that move me to nickel, and then I'll be at safety when bases out there. And so, I'm wherever y'all need me, I just want to be in the action. So I kind of took it that way. I'm like, okay, y'all want me to play here? Easy. Boom, no problem.
I think the most helpful thing you can do for yourself is all right, I don't have a choice in this. This is the thing. I think when when things go poorly and you're like, oh, I shouldn't be here, I should be there. That's when it starts to compound. But if it's no, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
There's no doubts. This is the thing.
That's what I'm doing.
It makes it so much easier. Yeah.
How good at nickel do you think you are compared to you at safety? What would you out of 10? How would you rate yourself?
I would say nickel and safety. It's similar. It's similar to free safety and strong safety. You're doing the same job, just on different sides of the field. So
you didn't think it was actually that different or that challenging?
No,
for you
we do the same job at safety that we do at nickel. So it's just nickel is pretty much a third safety on the field, I think personally. So it
That's
wasn't
helpful. That's
too much
interesting.
Of a difference.
And then now seeing Christian Izzian come in and handle the nickel job as an undrafted, rookie guy, and I do feel like that position is asked a lot of in a Todd Bowles defense.
Yeah.
What have you seen about how he's been able to handle that, and then what it's been like for you to get to just focus on the safety spot, knowing he's kind of holding down that nickel?
Yeah, he's been doing a great job, first and foremost, and having him out there, he reminded me of me when I first got to the team. But he's a great player. He's smart. and he loves playing football. And when you're around guys that actually love playing football, it makes everything more fun. And then we communicate, we're on the same page with things. So it's been fun having him out there playing.
What did he remind you of
Yeah,
you
I'm
on?
curious.
I'm like, we need more info
I
on
would
that.
say just kind of how he is.
Because that's a compliment
Yeah,
to have,
yeah,
man.
I don't want to go back to the same story about the undersized
Yeah.
guys, but kind of like the similar
Yeah.
story, like undersized. So he was undrafted, and just how he comes to work every day. He comes and he plays and he enjoys playing football.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that. How about the idea of having a head coach that plays your position?
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. We'll go up to his office and watch film with him pretty much every week, but it's funny because he pulls up his film and he makes us watch his old school film.
Stop. He
That-
does
Like the
not.
high school football player who
And
like,
it's crazy.
reliving the glory days.
Yeah.
Bowles is a baller. I ain't gonna lie. He was catching picks and everything. He was showing us all his plays.
he's showing you
course
the
he
good,
should.
he's showing you the good ones, dude. Not where he got exposed.
Yeah, he showed all his good plays.
You should
but
ask
it
him,
was
hey, I want to
fun.
see one where you just got absolutely
That's
torched.
that's what
Give
I
me
gotta see.
the-
I gotta
give me
see
the
something like
lowlights.
that. Yeah.
Everybody's seen the highlights.
Yeah.
Who cares about that?
Right.
So wait, I want to know how this happens. Y'all walk in and he's just like, guys, I got film for
Hey,
you.
check this out. Check how good at football I was.
Well, so he had showed Dean his film, and then I remember we were just outside practicing. I'm like, man, let me check him out. I want to see his film. So we went up to his office, and he pulled it up, and he had it queued up already. So I'm like, you must be showing people this all the time or
He
something. I
didn't
don't know
have
how
to
he
look
clicked through
very
it.
hard.
Yeah,
We need to
nah.
get someone else to show you his clips. Like, get someone from the scouting department to
Yeah,
pull up his
yeah.
clips because
Oh, yeah.
Bulls
gonna
is
show
going
all
to be
his good
super
plays.
selective on this stuff. Yeah, exactly.
It was all interceptions.
Yeah.
It was all interceptions.
You're like, man,
course so.
every time you stepped on the field, you
Yeah,
got an
all
interception.
interceptions.
How are you not in the Hall of Fame?
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. So tell me, what's your evaluation of him when you watch this film? If you're a scout, of course, it's the highlights, but tell me what you thought.
Oh, Bowles was balling. He was a ball hawk. I'm not gonna lie. It's funny, just like seeing him back then when he was playing. I'm like, wow, he was moving around. He was a player.
I asked him on our show, actually, that we had earlier about his hair, that he claims that he had an even better fro than you
Oh, he
when
had the
he
fro?
was younger. Yep.
I ain't see that.
When he
I
was
gotta-
in high school, he said that it was huge.
Pictures or
That's what we
need
said.
pictures.
He said he
I need
burned
pictures.
most of them.
Except he saved the interceptions.
Yeah.
Burn the
Exactly, burn the afro
Gotcha.
photos. So now we have to see which one of you was the better safety and which one of you had the better fro.
Right.
There's a lot going on here. Which is
Lot
pretty
at
funny.
stake.
A lot at stake. We're talking Antoine Winfield Jr. I also wanted to shout you out for not only are you great on the field, but you do some really great work in the community outside of it. And especially, I know you've worked with something called the Heart Gallery. So I just love giving guys a chance to kind of shout out what's important in their heart and in their community work. So tell us kind of about that and anything else you want to share about what you do off the field.
Sure. The Heart Gallery is a group that I've been kind of closely working with, and it's just for foster kids. So just being able to give them different experiences, whether it's taking them to Top Golf, taking the ladies to get their nails done, and just doing different things like that. Showing up at foster home or like group homes and just being able to hang out with the kids. That's something that I really enjoy doing, just to give them that experience. And that's something that I'll continue to do because I just love doing that.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
When did you get connected with them? How long?
I think it was through some event with the Bucs, and
wow.
they told me about it. And then I'm like, yeah, let's do something with the kids. And I kind of been connected with them ever since then.
It's so cool how those things kind of like just come up organically. It's like,
Yeah.
you want to be, a member of the community, you want to help out where you can, and then you find an organization or a group of people that
Yeah.
like you really connect with and can make a huge impact on. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, this is awesome. Like,
Yeah,
this
it's
is what I
awesome.
want. Yeah.
And how cool just that you showing up somewhere just like
Yeah.
makes a kid's life.
Yeah.
Is that weird even to kind of realize as it happens of where you just show up somewhere and just your mere presence can
Yeah.
change a kid's whole world?
It's weird because it takes nothing from us, just our time. We just got to show up. And,
Well, but time is limited during the season.
time,
so I
time
will
is
say,
limited, but we still have time to be
Yeah.
able to do stuff out there in the community. And any time you can just put a smile on a kid's face or just give them an experience that they probably wouldn't have gotten. It's awesome feeling not only for them but for me as well. So I enjoy it.
Yeah, but I also feel like kind of similarly, like I think that like for me, I never felt like all that like special or unique. But I know the kids like really thoroughly enjoyed it. I know
Yeah.
I feel like you would kind of identify with that. It's like I'm not doing anything like that special here.
Yeah.
But you know how impactful it is for them. It's
Yeah.
like, all right, this is something that I want to show up for.
Yeah. Like even like we just go out. What do? We went and did a pepper rally for an elementary school like right down the street, and they were outside in the in like the yard or whatever, and we were just playing football, throwing the football with each other. I'm like, wow, this brings me back to my days. Like, this is cool. Like, if somebody came from the Bucs to like
my
my school,
gosh.
like
Oh,
I
yeah.
know, like I'll be like, wow, let's
That's
play some
cool.
football. And
Yeah.
so like just being able to do that, it was.
I remember when I was a kid, I asked for the autograph of a girl that played on our varsity high school team. That I was that fired up when I ran into her in the grocery store. So like
Imagine
a
playing catch
pro,
at the
like
Antoine.
I would have lost my mind. I would have lost my mind. So you are one of the more like even keel, chill, like again, like you're professional all the time. Like you're just very steady all the time. You got engaged this offseason. I would love to.
did.
Were you nervous? Did this rattle you?
I was nervous,
You-
very nervous.
I feel like you could play in the Super Bowl and you are fine.
Yeah, this is a different type of nervous.
Yep. I had a feeling. Tell me about this.
Yeah, so me and Tessa, we've been together since we were sophomores in high school. So really the high school sweethearts.
Wow.
It was just coming up on our 10 years in October. So we've been together for 10 years now. Yeah, so the hardest part was probably trying to keep it a secret because I had a trip planned out. We went to Thailand. I ended up proposing to her in Bangkok. I don't know if y'all have seen Hangover 3, but there was like, if y'all seen it, yeah. So there was like this scene where they were like having like brunch on top of a building, and I watched it. Yeah, on the rooftop. So I was watching a movie. I'm like, dang, we're about to go to Thailand soon. Maybe this might be the spot right here. Maybe it was like a sign, like this is where I'm gonna do it. Found that spot, got it set up, and just proposed to her on like the stairs where they shot the movie at. So it was awesome.
Wait, that's so
Who would have thought
cool.
Hangover 3 would be the origin of a
know, right?
romance story?
Ain't that crazy?
Well, there's a couple of things here. One, I know you're trying to keep it a surprise, but 10 years together since sophomore year of high school. I don't know how much you were
How surprising it really is, yeah.
really was.
Yeah.
But then also, I was there, same place.
Really?
For New Year's. We did New Year's Bangkok.
crazy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is super special place.
Yeah,
so
it was awesome.
That's really cool.
It was awesome.
That's amazing. That's so great.
Did you, just have to know though. Like, did you stumble over your words? How'd you do? How'd you perform there?
I don't even remember what I said.
Yeah.
Like, I was,
Everybody blacks out.
I'm like, I don't even remember what I said. I just remember getting down on one knee, and then she said yes, and I put the ring on her finger. And I'm like, oh, I can't even remember what I said.
So you were nervous. Were you nervous about what she was going to say, or did you
No,
knew she was
I
saying
knew she was gonna say
This
yes.
is what I love. As a girl, it is so hard
Yeah.
for me. Like, I've only been proposed to, and so it's so hard for me to imagine. I'm like, why are you nervous? You know I'm
That's
going
what
to say
I don't
yes.
know why. I don't know why I
Yeah,
was
you all
nervous. It
are.
was just like a thing. Like, oh, I'm nervous for some reason.
That's
But I
great.
knew she's gonna say yes. But I'm still nervous anyway.
So you had that in the carry-on the whole time then?
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
you keep that
That's-
thing on,
that's
keep that thing
nerve-wracking.
on you.
Yeah, hiding it from her was the hardest. I'm like, oh, I just can't. I can't let her find this ring. Otherwise, it's gonna ruin everything. So I was trying my best to hide
That's
that.
phenomenal. I love that.
Yeah.
So how about for you as a safety? What do you think is your favorite thing about playing that position?
Being able to see the entire field. You know, we're the last line of defense, and we're back the furthest, so you can pretty much see everything. And so I think that's what I like the most about it, and it gives us range to do more than one job.
I like that.
I like that. It's kind of like you're playing chess back there. You kind of
Yeah.
really are.
Yeah.
So if you were going to play another position, like let's say we just said you're not allowed to play safety, and also nickel's not going to count since you said it's basically the same thing. What else would you want to play?
On offense or defense?
Whatever.
Well, if I wasn't a safety, you know what? I wouldn't mind being like a slot receiver. I think I'd be a really good slot receiver
I would agree with that.
because I like contact and I like, I get the ball, I can get loose a little
Shifty.
bit,
I
And
like
so I
this.
come down,
Yeah.
crack somebody if I
Oh,
got
yeah.
to. If not,
In other words, you're
Give me
going to deliver the hits on
yeah,
offense too,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
You might want to be a different position if that's what you're trying to do. Than slot receiver, my guy.
Be a
Like,
slot
there's
down,
probably
crack,
better
little crack
options.
toss. Give me a space, give me some option routes.
Okay, that's fair. I'm curious. So other people have said you're a very competitive guy. I'm
Yeah.
curious if you were playing a solo sport, like you were playing just you versus someone else. How do you think you do better in a solo sport or a team sport?
Ooh, it depends on what the sport is.
Yeah.
But so I think solo sport. I think solo.
I
like
think you would crush it.
Yeah.
I think
yeah.
like you're playing. I just say it's anything tennis 1-on-1.
Yeah.
And you got to go 4 hours. Like,
it's over with.
you're grinding them down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm out of work wherever I'm playing. So yeah, I think the solo
Yeah.
sport.
Did you play anything besides football?
When I was younger, I played. Ran track and field. Played baseball and basketball, but as I got to high school, I just straight with football.
That's
Yeah.
pretty great. I like it. All right, we have one more segment coming up here on Buccaneers Total Access, brought to you by Hooters, the original wing joint since 1983. This is Buccaneers Radio. It's time for our final segment here on Buccaneers Total Access from the Hooters Owl's Nest. We are joined by Antoine Winfield Jr. I wanted to hear for you your favorite and least favorite kind of players to go against. What are the matchups that you're like, yes, and the ones you're like, God, this sucks?
Okay, that's an interesting question.
Thank you.
Well, I would say one thing that's tough is somebody that's really fast. And one person in particular that I've played against a few times, and his name happens to be Tyreek Hill.
Well, that's fair.
So I would say the hardest thing to do is cover a fast guy, like somebody that's just quick and fast, and like somebody like Tyreek Hill that, he bursts out and he's going down the field. I would say somebody like that is really tough to cover.
That's fair.
Can't teach it. Makes sense.
Yep.
Can't teach that.
When you got to give the peace sign to him, where does that rank in your career of like the best moments?
I gotta be top 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Leading up to the Super Bowl, we played him in the regular season. He killed us. And then, leading up to like the Super Bowl, the highlights played all
the
week,
time.
and I'm just like, every time I see it, he's backflipping into the end zone doing a peace sign. I'm like, if I get the chance, I'm gonna do it. And the perfect opportunity came up, and I just gave him the peace sign, and it worked out perfectly.
And
There was a fine for that.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, there was a fine.
And he said, worth it.
It was worth it, but
every penny.
Yeah.
Not actually. It's not my money, but
no, it was
Easy
worth
to
it. It was
spend
worth
your
it.
money.
It was worth it to do
But
that. Yeah, it was worth it.
What
Sure.
amount would have made it not worth it? Like, how much would it have
What's
to
the
have
most?
been?
That's a great question.
What's for you, like, all right, if I'm going to get fined this much, I'm doing it. This much, I'm not.
If it was like 20,000, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, not worth it. I bet every guy on this team has a different
No.
amount for that, too.
Yeah,
Everybody has a
100%.
different amount.
But
That's
then
pretty
also with the Super Bowl, you get Super Bowl money, you get some money from the
Yeah.
playoffs.
Yeah, yeah, so
like
makes up for it.
Yeah.
Cancels out.
Yeah, it cancels out. That's how money works. How about, do you consider yourself a trash talker?
Not so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I'm locked in, I'm kind of just focused on what I'm doing.
I thought that seemed unique for you, that moment of you kind of like, that peace sign to Tyreek, that felt like kind of.
Yeah, it was just like built up.
Yeah.
Like it was like, 'cause I was like so frustrated with the first show when we
Yep.
played against them. It was just like something like, if I get this moment, I'm gonna do it. And the moment happened, and I did it.
How do you handle it when guys trash talk you, or how often does that happen?
It doesn't really happen often.
Oh, because he's like, they're not talking to me
Yeah.
because I'm gonna
Yeah.
make them pay for it.
Well, the truth is there's some truth to that because like you never really pick on the best guy.
Yeah, you don't pick up the guy.
You usually pick on somebody you feel like you can expose every once in a while.
Yeah.
So they'll probably pick on
100%.
somebody else. But
Yeah.
I've been there. It's like I really hate you, but I'm going to displace it and talk about
And talk
somebody
somebody
else.
else, yeah.
'Cause I know I can beat you.
exactly.
So they're not really doing that to them. They're probably talking about someone else.
Yeah.
It's funny.
That's pretty funny. I like that. How about how different you feel from your rookie year to now? Because we've said how you came in as a rookie already acting like a vet, but how do you feel different now as a vet from you as a rookie?
I would just say the more experience you get, the more experience you are. So just, playing this, it's my 4th year. And like I said, I came in like a vet. That's what people have said, but I was just being me.
You're just you, yeah.
Yeah, I was just being me. But I would say just the experience that comes with it, playing over the years, you understand the game a little bit more, and everything kind of just slows down.
We're talking to Antoine Winfield Jr. What do you feel like you still need to work on? Because frankly, like I think a lot of times to us, it looks like you're just killing it. Like
Yeah.
it's very hard for us
Yeah.
to know the individual little things that you still need to work on, because it is pretty dang rare for it to seem like there was something that didn't go well that you
Yeah.
were doing.
For me personally, intercepting the ball, that's something that I want to get more of, get more picks.
Do you feel like you weren't making the most of your opportunities, or feel like you just
I just gotta find ways to get to
there.
the ball.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just trying to
It's
find
like-
ways to
it's
take
like
the ball
When
away.
you get it, I mean, you're pretty good with it.
Yeah. Just trying to find ways to,
To get
get
around
some more
it.
picks. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So we talked about the players that you think are tough to go against. Are there on-field like pet peeves you have that guys do on the other team or other positions, like guys on the offense, or things that just drive you nuts when some sort of offensive player does this?
I would say probably when like somebody blocks you late, like so I'm in the back of the field, I can see everything, and so they might not see it, but I see like the ball carrier is down, and I got a guy like coming full speed still trying to block me. I'm like, bro, like,
Yeah, like it's over.
play's over, like dude's on the ground, but sometimes it's an honest mistake, they don't know, but sometimes you will get some of those guys that will make it a point to try to block you extra, and I'm like, It's coming from. It's coming from.
Yeah, those
just kinda
jerks.
contradict.
Those freaking the worst.
So, okay, and also I would love to hear when there's the offensive lineman gets to the next level, when there tends to be an offensive lineman versus DB situation. Tell me, for each of you guys, what you loved and hated about these moments. For you as a guy who you've said you were called undersized.
Yeah.
When you have to face maybe an offensive lineman in some of these situations, how do you tend to handle it? What's good and bad about it?
Well, you got to know your strengths and weaknesses. So I know I'm not bigger than them, so I got to use my speed. So if a guy's coming at me, I just foot fake him.
Dude, you did that. You did that on Sunday. Just a quick little
like it was
glass guard out there.
Yeah, it was
fantastic.
a screen, and I had a guard and a tight end, and I just
it's just a little
stick, get around him, boom.
It's just, honestly, we're trained on a track out there, so like, that's all you have to do is like whoop,
one stick this way, they're gonna go that way.
It.
You just go this side.
It's the easiest thing.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, that's
train on a track.
No, I'm serious. You're not stopping. So
there's no switch throw into the other track
they can't
either.
change direction like
I can't change direction. So like that, it was beautiful watching that. But then also, I feel like some guys feel like they need, for we were talking about earlier, they need to know where to be. So like some guys have to contain it, push it to other guys. So like if I know that, then at least I can like try and force it. You know what I'm saying? But when you're able to shift, not much an offensive lineman can do.
That's great. All right, we'll close with this. I got to ask one thing. Facing the Falcons, it's early in the week, so I know game planning is early on, but what are some of the biggest things that stand out to you about their offense and just what you guys are wanting to accomplish this Sunday?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, every week, same thing. First thing we got to do is stop the run. They got a good running game. So I would say that's the first thing that we need to, lock down. And then they also got, a good tight end, good receiver. So making sure we control them as much as possible.
All right. Well, Antoine, thank you so much for joining us. And again, congrats on a great start to the season for you, and good luck against the Falcons.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks to all of you guys. This has been Buccaneers Total Access, brought to you by Hooters, the original wing joint since 1983. This is Buccaneers Radio.